This is getting funny in a sick way. I mentioned earlier this week that an unnamed, a very senior BBC presenter is accused of paying a 17-year-old boy for explicit photos of himself, and this presenter sent that teenager pictures of himself in underwear, allegedly. The boy's mother says she complained to the BBC in May. The BBC now admits, well, it sent her just one email in reply, got no response, put one call through to a number she gave, didn't work, and then left the matter for a month until the Sun newspaper took up the case, and then BBC panicked and reported the allegations to the police. But it still won't name this presenter, which means that other BBC presenters, male, are under suspicion, even falsely accused. And one female BBC presenter took on her boss about this.
Has he offered to resign?
Again, that is a matter that I think we have to respect the privacy of an employee.
Except we're in a very strange situation, aren't we, in that he's not been named, but everyone in this building knows who it is.
I get it. There are also claims this presenter is innocent, and why should he have his name trashed forever for doing something that was not illegal, as some say? Perhaps the boy wasn't 17 but 18. On the other hand, strange things are now appearing in print, even from reputable papers like the Daily Telegraph, like this homepage, a story placed just above a report on the scandal, noting, just a coincidence, that presenter Hugh Edwards, who hasn't been on air for a week at the BBC, was, by the way, the fourth highest paid presenter at the BBC. The fourth highest! That is news. And the word Hugh seemed on one BBC presenter's mind when she was talking about this case.
Big questions are being asked again about who knew what when.
Joining me from London is Patrick Christie, a top presenter on GB News. Patrick, I mean, you should stress that I'm not saying Hugh Edwards is the man, I'm just reporting the reporting. But how ugly is this getting for whoever the accused man is?
Yeah, this is getting incredibly ugly. It's getting ugly on two counts. Firstly, the sordid, salacious scandal embroiling this BBC presenter. But it's also the BBC's handling of these allegations. We have a bizarre situation now where this BBC presenter is like Lord Voldemort. They seem incredibly sinister, but you're not allowed to name who they are. Some of these accusations, and by the way, there'll probably be more allegations in about the next 20 minutes' time because these keep coming. Allegations that he paid for pictures of a 17-year-old, that would be illegal, OK? So the Met Police are having a look at that. Being aggressive and threatening when somebody threatened to out him, again, that's a kind of threat level there, abuse of power. Breaking lockdown rules to go and meet a young person at a train station. Then today we've had potentially as well quite creepy messages sent to someone who says that they were 17 years old at the time, love hearts and kisses, etc. The presenter in question is said to be extremely angry about all of this. I imagine nowhere near as angry as his wife and kids, Andrew. But other BBC stars are, of course, coming out now and saying that this individual needs to name themselves to stop all of this salacious gossip about other people. There's the Houses of Parliament behind me there. We have Prime Minister's question time in about 2 hours' time. It is expected that maybe an MP might use parliamentary privilege to name that individual in there as well. Just quickly, the way that the BBC have handled all of this, when they were first made aware of allegations, apparently they tried to contact the family of the individual who was 17 at the time through one email and one unanswered phone call. They left it 2 months. The Director General said he hasn't contacted this presenter. It's an absolute mess.
This just stuns me. And don't forget, Patrick, people got to be reminded, the BBC does have a little history, right? It does have a little history.
Yeah.
Jimmy Savile, spring to mind, one of the most famous presenters ever, a rampant pedophile.
Yeah, absolutely. So the BBC has got an abominable track record when it comes to this kind of stuff. Important distinction, obviously, between Savile and this particular individual. But one MP here, Lee Anderson, said that the BBC is now a safe haven for perverts. And when you look back at the Savile scandal, that guy was allowed to rampage through the BBC for decades unchallenged. We're expected to believe the BBC management had no idea. Stuart Hall, another presenter. I've got to be honest with you, Andrew, as well, not one of your finer exports from your brilliant country, Rolf Harris. He was also at it at the BBC for a very, very long period of time. And of course as well, now the questions are being asked. What has the BBC learnt from Jimmy Savile? And you'd have to ask maybe, well, nothing.
You're right to pick me up on, paedophilia is not what the allegation is here, it's something else. Just quickly, Patrick, I was really interested in a headline of, one of your promos. I'm going to talk about the Satanist capital of Britain, which is what?
Well, if you have a look behind me there, Andrew, you will see, of course, the Westminster. No, it's not there. It is, of course, at the BBC. No, it's not that either. Apparently, it's a small village. It's a small village. It's a small village called Bungay in Suffolk, which this village only has 8,500 people in it. 1 in every 120 people identify as a devil worshipper. And I was doing a bit of research on this. I was surprised to realise, apparently, 1 in every 12,000 people in the UK is a Satanist, which is remarkable, I think, when you consider the way that Christianity is dying out. But yes, supposedly this village in Suffolk is haunted by a possessed black dog. So yes, anyway, don't go to Bungay.
Knock it over. Yeah, it's either an amazing stat or people are pulling pollsters' legs. Patrick Christys, thank you so much indeed for your time.